Turkey was once the seat of the powerful Ottoman Empire, which for centuries spanned parts of North Africa, Europe, and the Middle East. After World War I brought about the collapse of that empire, Turkey sought to reinvent itself.
In the direct aftermath of World War I, Turkey was trying to rebuild. It had lost a huge portion of its population. It was engaged in the process of trying to create a new Turkish national identity.
It turned its face to Europe because at that time it was fashioned by Mustafa Kemal Atatürk to be a secular, Western-style European republic.
Ataturk, a former military commander, rose to power, fostering a progressive, democratic, and secular form of government.
He saw modern civilization as fundamentally Western civilization and tried to bring Turkish civilization into what he saw as international norms.
With the end of World War II, the U.S. alliance with Turkey became critical.
In the Middle East today, chaotic, vulnerable to Soviet expansion, Turkey, modern, powerful, and a rarity in this area, pro-Western, is prepared to defend herself against any aggressor.
The reason that Turkey was so important for NATO was because it put us right there on the Soviet Union's borders.
Turkey prevented Soviet Union's access to the warm seas because of its control of the Turkish Straits, the Dardanelles, and the Bosphorus. Because of that, the Soviets were not able to become a Middle Eastern power or a Mediterranean power.
Turkey's contribution to NATO did not end with the fall of the Soviet Union.
It's actually a critical NATO member state because it gives the alliance access to a broader swath of the world if there are military engagements in that part of the world.
But the internal politics of Turkey have not always been stable. The military has a history of seizing control of the democratically elected government through coup d'etat.
The military gradually, through coups, gave itself the role to guard Ataturk's legacy, and it became accepted by the end of the last century that the military was the grand arbiter, if unelected, of Turkish politics.
The first democratic elections in Turkey were held in 1950, and the first military coup came 10 years after that. The Prime Minister, the President of Parliament, and the Minister of Foreign Affairs were executed. After that, a coup was made almost every 10 years.
Economic turmoil in the 1990s saw Turkey's political landscape swing away from secularism and toward Islamist parties.
What happens when political parties mess up a country's economy? They get voted out. That's what happened to Turkey's traditional parties.
The economy had several crises. There were incompetent governments. There was a very bloody war going on with the Kurdish insurgency, the PKK. So at the end of the 90s, Turkish society, a lot of people in Turkish society were looking for a way out, like a new era. And that era was promised by Prime Minister Tayyip Erdoğan and his party, the AKP.
In 2002, the Islamist-based Justice and Development Party, AKP, won a landslide election victory, promising to fix the economy and to stick to secular principles of the Constitution.
Recep Tayyip Erdoğan, he's kind of the Giuliani of Istanbul. You know, he's known for cleaning up the streets. He's known for getting water and electricity to people.
AK Party managed to consolidate the right-wing vote behind its ticket, but in the subsequent years, also, AK Party pursued a very smart strategy of absorbing smaller remaining right-wing politicians, groups, actors.
The first decade of the AKP in power is mainly a success story, from 2002 to 2012 at least. Here you see Turkey really making great advances in the economy, life improvement for everybody.